Today we're continuing the Maimer Bereshit Bara that the Rebbe said on Motzei Shabbos Bereshit, Tafshin Lamed Ches, 1977, 40 years ago. And as we mentioned last time, that the Maimer Lahavinin in Simchas Torah, the Maimer that the Rebbe said in his room on the night of Motzei Simchas Torah was already speaking about the Yaakov Halach L'Darkei that happens on Motzei Simchas Torah, where the Rebbe explains the concept of Achdus, of the unity of the Jewish people. Just to explain it a little more, the whole concept of a Yaakov Halach L'Darkei, Yaakov went on his way. Yaakov, we're using not the name Yisrael, but the name Yaakov, which means Yud Ekev, bringing the Yud of Hashem into the Ekev, into the heel of the world, which that's not the higher name of Yaakov, where he's already a Sar, where he's already in charge, but rather Yod Echezes Ba'Kev Esav, he has a connection to Esav. The total unity is when a person is above having to deal with Esav, having to deal with the world. That's on Yom Kippur. Matzah Yom Kippur, there begins the idea of the Yaakov Halach L'Darkei. Each one goes in his own way, and as the Gemara says, Ze oisik b'sukasoi v'ze oisik b'lulavoi, meaning that each person is involved, true, with the sukkah, with the lulav, but it's his sukkah, it's his lulav. On Yom Kippur, everyone was together. On Matzah Yom Kippur, each person is involved in his own sukkah, his own lulav. Nevertheless, we can't call it fully darkoi, his own path, because in the end of the day, everyone's involved in a mitzvah and everyone's involved in the same mitzvah. Whereas Motzei Simchas Torah, when a person was still over Sukkot involved with the mitzvahs, and Motzei Simchas Torah, everyone goes L'Darkei, they're now going into the regular weekdays, where each person is involved in his own avodah and his own things. And again, nevertheless, that's still not a proper Yaakov Halach L'Darkei, because in the end of the day, on Motzei Simchas Torah, a person still connected, still feels the atmosphere of Simchas Torah, and moreover, he's preparing still for Shabbos Bereshit, and Shabbos Bereshit is a time when everyone realizes that Bereshit Bara Likim, the oneness of Hashem in the world. Whereas Motzei Shabbos Bereshit, when it's over, it's already, Shabbos Bereshit is already over and a person is going into the weekdays of the world. Then there's the real L'Darkei, then he's going into his path. A derech, which a derech, the idea of a derech, is that it connects a path, as explained in Chassidus, is that it connects two places. Not just two places, but as explained many times in Chassidus, that the path, the derech, it connects the Ira Bira, the capital city, the palace of the king, the place where the palace is, with the regular city and town in the lowermost place. And that's the idea of Darkei, that now a Jew is going via Yaakov. He's going with his mission of connecting the world and godliness. And it's for this that this Maimer is explaining how one does that, and not only does it, but in a way of halach, going, which halicha means going in an unlimited fashion, where one goes on further and further to the extent that it's unlimited. More so even than what was explained in the Maimer of Motzei Simchas Torah. That because of the atmosphere of Simchas Torah, because Simchas Torah is Yom Echad, it's one. It's the one that brings the oneness of Yom Kippur into all the following days and weeks. But now we're going even to a step further with this halach, that even once one goes into the world, he can still feel the oneness of Hashem in everything. And it's for this reason that we ask the same similar type of question on the Pasuk Bereshit. That why do we start the Torah with Bereshit Bara Likim? The Torah shouldn't have started with anything other than Achedesh Elochem. And the Rebbe explained that Chassidus says Achedesh Elochem. Chodesh is Malchus, that's the godliness in the world. Kingship, which is a separate entity, so to speak. Then Hashem, that's the whole idea of kingship. A king means it's king over a nation. A nation is a separate entity. That's the existence of the world as a separate entity. Zeh means this. This meaning that godliness is revealed. And Chodesh Hazeh is to bring down the godliness in a revealed manner, which means the godliness that's above the world, which in general that's what we call the Eira Seviv Kol Almin. The light and the godly energy that's Seviv, that's beyond the world, beyond the physical world, into HaChodesh, which is the Eira Seif HaMemalik Kol Almin, which is the godliness that's within the world. That's the whole purpose of Torah. Torah was given the wisdom of Hashem down here to connect godliness that's above the world with the world. To explain this even further, the Rebbe explains that we know from the writings and the teachings of the Arizal that before Hashem created the world, there was first the concept of Tzimtzum, which means prior to the creation, prior to any type of creation, Hayahu Shmoi Bilvad. Nothing existed except for Hashem and His name. His name meaning that Hashem already created, so to speak, or brought about something which is a name, something with which eventually there could be an existence that could relate to Hashem with it. But since Hashem is filling the entire existence, it's impossible. There should be an olam, a world, which olam means helem, concealment. Concealment can't be in the same place where there's revelation. What did Hashem do? What's called tzimtzum, silek oire hagodel latzad. He, so to speak, or in a manner of speaking, meaning in a manner that it will seem so to the world, He removed His great light to the side and He created a chalal and a makom panui. He created an empty space, a vacuum, a place where the godly light isn't revealed, at least in a revealed way, because Hashem is everywhere nonetheless. Not only the essence of Hashem, which that there was no tzimtzum in to start with, but even the revelation of Hashem. The light of Hashem is only that for the Nivraim, for us, for the world, it feels as if it doesn't exist. So now there's an empty space, vacuum. And in that vacuum, Hashem is through the kav, which is the ray of light, so to speak, meaning the godly energy that's brought into the world in a condensed manner. He then created a world. The whole purpose of Chodesh Hazeh is not just to bring the godliness that's above the world into the world, but even deeper than that, to bring the godliness, the oir, the light from before Tzimtzum, that light, that revelation from prior to that seeming removal of the light, and to bring it and draw it down into the world, because that's what Torah is all about, that we're in a world which is lacking that light and godly energy, bringing that real truth and the real existence of the godly light and energy the way it was beforehand. That's what it's all about, and yet, that's why Lo Yahya Tzarich Lahaschil Es HaTorah Elo B'Chodesh Hazeh Lochem, the beginning of the Torah, cannot be with anything other than a Chodesh Hazeh Lochem, which is the idea of bringing down that godly light from before Tzimtzum. And yet instead, we start with Bereshit. Bereshit Bara Likim. The story of Maisa Bereshit, of the creation of the world, is a story that comes after Tzimtzum. It comes in a dark world, in a world where the light had been removed, where Hashem created heaven and earth, where Hashem created an existence, but an existence which is separate, an existence of concealment, an existence that doesn't recognize that godly energy. Why? Why does the Torah start with Bereshit, with an existence like this, that shouldn't be the beginning of the Torah? That can come later, maybe. That's a later point, but that's not the whole thing of Torah. The whole thing of Torah is the opposite of it. So now the Rebbe explains what's the reason. Ma tam pasol b'Bereshit. Why did Hashem begin with Bereshit? Because of koyach, maisav, higid li'amoy, losis lahem nachlas goyim. Hashem told His nation the power of His actions, of His deeds meaning of tzimtzum, of the concealment, of the condensed light, of the place which is called a world, the concealed world where the godly energy isn't revealed. Hashem began the Torah with that to tell us, Laseis lahem nachlas goyim, as a result. I created a world of concealment, a world of tzimtzum, and the purpose is Laseis lahem, so that a Jew can take that inheritance of the nation, so that a Jew can take that level of the world, which seems to belong to a world that doesn't recognize Hashem, and in that world to refine that world, to elevate that world, to reveal the godliness in that world, so that in that world there should be revealed the ultimate reality of Hashem, and as a result we reach and we achieve something that's even greater than Achodesh Hazeh. Because Achodesh Hazeh means only to re-bring, to draw down that same light that was there before Tzimtzum. But you can't do something new. You can't create a new revelation. You can't create something that was never there. All you're doing is Hazeh. You're bringing the godliness that was revealed into the world. That's not the purpose. That's not Koyach Maisav. That's not why Hashem removed His light in the first place, so that you can re-bring the same light that was there previously. Lasis lam nachas goyim. Hashem wanted there to be a world, a physical existence, an existence of concealment, an existence where we don't see godliness, and that we should be mevarer, we should refine and elevate that world. We should use that world and reveal in the Nachlas Goyim that it belongs to the Jewish people. That it's not like the Goyim are saying, listim atem, you're robbers, because it's our land. We should reveal in this world, Bereshit, Bara, Lekim, Hu, Bara. Hashem is the one that's created it. Nisana, Lasher, Yasher, Beinav, He gave it to whom He wished. It was all His decision and it's all His creation to reveal that in the world. And as a result, we're fulfilling the will of Hashem, and we bring down Koyach Maisav, we bring down the essence of Hashem, the new light, a light that wasn't even there, that didn't even exist before the world was created. Something that couldn't exist before the world was created. Because we did something new. We didn't just bring down a light that was there. We did something new by transforming, by taking a world that couldn't accept the godly light and revealing godliness in that world. And as a result, we bring down something new to the extent that what we bring down is the very essence of Hashem, the atzmus of Hashem, because since this is where Hashem wants to be, this is the dira b'tachtonim, this is His dwelling place, this is where He wants to be, we're bringing down His very essence. And this is the idea of Koyach Maisav, Higid Li'ameh. And this is why the Torah starts with Bereshit. Because when a person takes the worlds which were created in a way of Nachlas Goyim, and we make it all into the inheritance of a Jew, so then that changes. And similar to the idea of a Jew taking Eretz Canaan, a land which is the land of the nations, and transforming it and making it into Eretz Yisrael. Here we're taking the world, which is a world which is Nachlas Goyim, and we're transforming it and we're making it a land which belongs to a Jew, to Yisrael, to a Jew who's above the world. That's the idea and the purpose of creation, because if the purpose was only to bring down the same light that was there before, so it's already something good, because we're bringing a light that was there previously into a place that couldn't accept it previously. Nevertheless, we didn't do anything new. But here it's even more than that. We're bringing down something new, not just something new, we're bringing down the very essence of Hashem. Because that's where He wants to be. And that's why it's so much greater to start with Bereshit. And then the Rebbe continues and says, and that's what it means, even the fact that the world is a world that's separate, a world that's a separate existence than Hashem's godliness, that was all B'Tzaina, that was all only in the first place in order to fulfill the will of Hashem. through the fact that Birtzaina, that same will, He'll take it away from them and give it to us. And when a Jew realizes that even the fact that there's a world, and the fact that there's concealment in the world, and the fact that there's darkness in the world, that entire existence is only Birtzaina, is because of Hashem's will, because of Hashem's decision that He decided to give it and to make that world in order to take it from the world and to give it to the Jewish people so that they can refine it and elevate it and bring the ultimate revelation of Mashiach, which is what it's all about. And if it's Hashem, tomorrow we'll continue further.